Hello, this is Don, also known as Master Bun on YouTube. I guess it's some kind of homage to Italy. Um, I don't know what was going through my mind when I selected that name. It just sounded kind of weird. Anyways, we're starting a new series today on, I guess it would be calendar study. A number of years ago, I posted some videos on YouTube about 3D math concerning the book of Genesis, in particular the flood, Noah's Ark and all that. It was based on Noah's son was 100 years old at the end of the flood. I noticed this in the passage that the flood started when Noah was 600 and his son Shem was born when Noah was 500. So logically, at the start of the flood, you would think, I'm chewing gum. I usually make it a rule not to chew gum when I'm doing a video, but I'm breaking the rules today. So you would think Shem, if you do the math, Shem would be 100 years old at the beginning of the flood. But as it turns out, the text, I think that's Genesis 11 or something, says that Shem was 100 years old 2 years after the flood. So I have to try to figure out what does that mean. What I came up, my theory, what I came up with is that Noah and Shem were on two different calendars, which, when you think about it, it's not really possible, but it would explain the age difference between 98 and Shem would be 98 at the start of the flood. So if you watch some of those videos, you'll get some insights into that. But I'm not, I might rehash that at some point, make it a little bit clearer than the way I presented it before. But that was more of a Windows video type thing, not a live camera. So anyways, it would be helpful to rehash that and show how, the two different calendars, one's lunar and one's solar. The solar is 365 days, the lunar is 354. So if you do the math, it comes out right. 2 years in, so you got 500 years of lunar plus, or actually, that's not right. I'm not even going to go into that. But it is based on 500 and 100 years. This repeats. The calendar repeats itself throughout the Genesis account, the timeline. So there's like 500 years from the death of Shem, or the end of his line, to the birth of Abraham. But you're not going to find that in the King James Bible, or it's called the Masoretic text, which was finalized like in 800 or 900 AD. So and there's some interesting aspects to that too, which I'll save for a later time. But how do we know that the years there are accurate? So that's just there's just a lot of material there. I'm not going to be able to cover it here as an introduction. But what I'm going to discuss today is the I guess you would call it the knowledge. The Bible gives us 7-day week, and the 24-hour day. I think that comes from Babylonia. Everything's based on size of decimal 60, however you pronounce that. So, so we have this 24-hour day that we set our watches, our clocks by. But in reality, the 24-hour day is actually a myth. It makes it easier to keep track of things. So, when you have a calendar of various days per month with 24 hours per day at the end of a year of 365 and a quarter days, I think the total, I have this notebook here. I used to have some blue strips of paper, with all the apartment remodeling and things going on. I don't remember where I put it. So I'm going to use this instead, kind of a pad. It used to be colored sheets, but it's kind of faded out. So if you multiply 24 times, like I said, 365 and a quarter, there's a certain number of hours per year, which I think is 8,766, but I'd have to double check that. So what happens is the sun, the Earth rotates on its axis in 24 hours. So that's where we get the 24-hour day from. That in itself would be accurate. The problem is, by the time the Earth makes one complete rotation on its axis, it's already 4 minutes into the next day. So every day from the 24-hour scheme of things, you're losing 4 minutes per day. So if you would base your year on 360 days, which I believe Moses is doing in Genesis, there's certain clues that the calendar system being used in Genesis is a 360-day calendar, not the 365 of the solar, not the 354 days of the lunar, but sort of something in the middle there. And what happens is, after 360 days, this is kind of mind-blowing, but because you're losing 4 minutes every day, if you want to keep the 24-hour scheme of things, actually 360 days of 1,436 minutes per day is equal to 359 days of 1,440 minutes per day, which is a 24-hour day. So that's kind of what this series is going to be about. It took me quite a while, 10 minutes here to set that up, but so if you, from midday of one day to midday of the next day is only 23 hours and 56 minutes. So if we use that to understand, instead of the 3D math I was using before, where, so many years of, well, actually it would be 5 years of lunar plus 6 years of solar is equal to 11 years of 360 day calendar. So we're just going to kind of zoom in on that and make it more understandable. Like before, I hadn't really got to the point where, both Noah and Shem have to be in 360 on the 360 calendar. They can't be using two different calendars. So what I was able to do was change that equation from being three different values, 354, 365, and 360 into just one value, 360. And I can show you how that's done. And so then from that perspective, you get in 359 days per year, you get this time of the start of the flood, and everything then fits together. But that takes a little bit of figuring and a lot more attention that I'm giving it right now. So stay tuned for further insights in the series. Thank you. Bye.